Greetings, Palia and housing enthusiasts. Welcome to today's video. That is massively important. Yeah, holy heck, somebody found the Holy Grail. And unfortunately, no, I'm not talking about the Holy Grail where Switch players can use solo floats. That Holy Grail still eludes us. I am talking about that someone found out how to circumvent the item limit. So yeah, I was hoping to hold off on doing this tutorial until it was closer to when the devs make their announcement that they're going on their sabbatical for a month, but so we can enjoy it for as long as possible. But, well, another content creator already made a video on Saturday regarding this, so cat's out of the bag and the clock's ticking, so I might as well get all of the testing information that we've been doing into your guys' hands, so as many people can start using this and enjoying it as soon as possible before the developers fix it. With that out of the way, you know, let's breeze through the Ko-Fi. Thank you to the people that have supported me on Ko-Fi. The Ko-Fi link is down in the video description. Let's get to the tutorial. I know I literally just said, let's get to the tutorial, but there is a tiny sidebar. There's a very short list of items that you can't transfer. So you're going to want to place down those items before you hit the maximum. Interestingly enough, it's fencing and fencing type items. The reason being is that since they can't be moved, you can't get them out of your lamp zone. So basically, any item that you can't move, you can't transfer. I'll make a spreadsheet and I'll add it into the video description, or you know what, better yet, I'll make a graphic. Like, I'll turn the spreadsheet into a graphic so people can just like pause the video and screenshot it. That's just the takeaway for that very short list of items that you can't transfer. And it's literally just the ones that once you place them, if you can't move them afterwards without using group select, or at least we haven't found a way around that yet. I'll post an update once we find a way. Sorry, there are more disclaimers, because now that our plot is maxed out, there are more things to talk about. Basically, the first one is regarding wallpapers, roofing, and flooring. Make sure you like them, for one. For two, make sure you don't remove any of them, because you will not be able to reapply them, full stop. Because currently, as of the recording of this video, if you are at the maximum, or as we are going into the surly bonds of leaving the item cap behind, you cannot apply textures. It's a bug that has been in the game for a very long time. Theoretically, S6 is aware of it, and theoretically it is a low priority on their list of things to work on. Second tiny sidebar. Third tiny sidebar is, if you're on PC, make sure any projects that you are working on that require obstacle flicking are finished before you hit the item cap, because obviously you cannot place items from your inventory once you hit the item cap. And as such, once we go into this realm, friends, everyone that's on PC now has the limitations of being a Switch player. And I kind of like that. We're all on an even playing field. Kind of. Not really, because PC players can still solo float, so not even close. Just kidding, not even close. But you know, at least PC players can't obstacle flick once they go past the item limit. Just a tiny note that PC players, you will be handicapping yourselves in doing this. Let's get to the tools list. So I've gathered up the various tools that we're going to need for our examples. For starters, we're going to want builder's wood crates. We're going to be using those to teleport our crafting stations. Next, we're going to want the makeshift tent. You can use multiple, but you are also fine just using one. As well, we're going to want builder's floors. I'll be using the wood variety, but you can use any aside from the stone. My usual disclaimer that the stone does not like coming in contact with things. It is the problem child of the bunch. Next, we'll be using yardwork large terraces. Once again, this is just a tool that we're going to be using as a platform. For the next example, we are going to be needing exactly 10 of the builder's large crate for this one. The material does not matter, and there's no limitations. Then for this one, the material kind of matters, just that it's the metallic pillars, only because they're flatter. And again, we're going to need 10 of them. For the next one, we're going to need a shelf. Any variety of shelf will do for this. We just need something that rotates. So a rotating shelf, because there are a couple that do not rotate. And then we are going to want a Winterlight's candle ornament. If you are someone who does not have one of these yet, fret not. The Winterlight's event is coming back up here on December 3rd, 2024. Just bear with me. And almost there. There's just a couple more. Then Yardwork Small Terrace is the last decor piece that we're going to be needing for housing items, because we're going to need some tools to use as transporting. We're going to be using a conservatory. That's going to help us transport trees. And then any house, literally just any house, housing addition. I'm going to use a harvest house. So let's start off with something simple. Just transporting some trees over to our maxed out plot. So what you're going to do is place down a small yardwork terrace, and then we're going to place a builder's floor on top of it. From there, we're going to use our group select button. On PC, that is Alt. On Switch, you'll be using your ZL. This will allow you to place the terrace inside of the conservatory. From there, you'll be free to place trees on your terrace, all willy-nilly. Don't get too excited. They're not going to stay. It's kind of the point. I wouldn't be showing you this if they were going to stay. Okay, and now from here, this is where we swap to the plot that we want the trees to go. And now what we're going to do is referred to as a tier 2 plot reload. That just means we're going to leave one of the gates. You can either go to 𝐾𝐿𝐴 or you can go to Bahari. Then you go home. And it's just that simple. Make sure to move all of the trees inside the plot boundary. You don't. Every single time you reload your plot by leaving through one of the gates or restart your game and you are on a different plot, the trees will travel to a different plot. And the same with anything that is in the lamp zone. It will turn into a bit of a nomad. It doesn't mean that you can't reload it into this plot, but you just do need to remove it from the lamp zone. So, yeah. On to the next. The next super simple one that we're going to do has actually been a bit of an annoyance to many of us, but now we're gonna use it to be spicy. Because if they're not gonna fix it, well, we might as well use it. So what we're going to do is place some builder's crates inside of our house. Remember, it can be any kind of house stuff. And then you're going to place your crafting thing on top of it. This also works with storage chests, or basically anything that can go on a building block that is also functional. Then, like before, switch plots. We momentarily go to 𝐾𝐿𝐴. And we see that our crafters are all here now. Once again, bring them all inside the plot boundary. Alright, next up I will be showing how you can use the makeshift tent to transport things. So, interesting thing that happens with the makeshift tent when things are inside, and when you go to place it in your inventory by pressing either your G key or Y on the Switch. Sorry, give me a second. Is this happens. They just start, they're floating there in midair. And if you don't place them on the ground immediately and you leave your plot and come back, they're going to get sent to the front of your gate, which was just, it's great for what we're doing. And now I will show how you can combine that to send. This is how you can send ceiling items. Just have it on a builder's floor, and then I'll show you what happens in just a second, because this brings up something very important in regards to stacked items. So what happens when items are stacked is that they won't, the item that is stacked won't come through. And so the item that is on top, or in this case, the item that is below, won't come through. Only the item that is at the base of the stack is going to come through. Oh, I forgot to switch plots. Oh, was going too fast. I do this so much. So I may have to restart. Or, yeah. Or, yeah, because I'm going to have to do... So, they're in the lamp zone now, and now we'll show you what happens when you don't take things out of the lamp zone. Just now we're going to use it to our benefit. So like I said, I don't need to do it again. It's going to take the same amount of time. There we go. And yeah, we see that the floor came through, but the lantern that we wanted did not. So since we do want the desk lamps here, we can just move those to the side. However, the builder's wood floor, since we don't really care about that, we're going to pick that up. And then we're going to leave through the front gate again. We're going to come back, and then the next item that is in the stack is going to come through. So much of this video is just going to be me reloading the plot. And there we go. There's our little lamp. It's right there. Although I can't reach it. So yeah, there you go. So that's just the basic using the tent. Okay, next I'm going to show you how to use the tent to send ground items. We're going to start off by placing our yardwork large terrace, and then we're going to place builder's floor and another floor, and it's important. So we're going to try group selecting. There we go. So you might need to fiddle around with the placement, because this one can be a little bit finicky, because if you do it right, you want to be able to grab it via this floor. Notice I am facing to the east when doing all the placement. Sometimes that does matter. And we're going to place another builder's wood floor. And yeah, so via group select we can grab everything, and we're good to go. From there, you're free to place down all of your ground items that you would like. Remember that this is limited to ground items that you can move after you place them. Once all your ground items are on top, we're going to group select the wood floor, and then we're just simply going to place it inside the tent, and same as last time, pick up the tent into your inventory by pressing G on the PC or Y on the Switch. And now this is ready to be transported to our other plot. At this point, we're going to jump over to the destination plot. Not like last time where we just left out the front gate. And then you can enter back in the front gate again. And remember, we are trying teleport or transport items that are in a stack, so we are going to need to do a queue of items. So notice our ground items did not come through on the first go, so we need to pick up the Yardwork Large Terrace into our inventory. You can move the floors out of the way. And now run back out the front gate again, so our ground items can come through. There we are. All the rest of the items that are in our stack have all come through. And this is something to note. If you're like me, there we go. And you have things around your shipping bin area. The lamp zone does extend into the shipping bin area. So just make sure that things have not gone into that area if you're transporting a lot of items, like we just did. That's part of the reason why I tried to do a large load this time. Sort of our lamp zone. We're good to move on to the next example. So for the next example, I'll be using something called Anchorless Floating to transport the items. For those that don't know how to do Anchorless Floating, it is just a group select while targeting a Winterlight's candle ornament. You just do that. You press your Alt if you're on the PC, or you press ZL if you're on the Switch. And this allows you to place your item on surfaces that, and this is important, do not have a placeable surface on them. So that's why these pillars are tilted. So the candle by itself can be placed along these pillars. However, the terrace, of course, cannot. But when we group select, it allows us to place the terrace as though it were the candle. However, the system has limitations to how high we can perform that anchorless float, which, you know, it used to be perturbing, but now it's useful. Creating our arm, we're going to lay out our 10 large crates, then just go into the aerial view and stack them one on top of the other, leaving one crate left over. And then same thing with the pillars. Just stack them out, or not stack them, place them out, and then just stack them, covering from the bottom, and then just stack them. But this time, going all the way up. And then place your shelf down, whichever one you chose, and put your stack of pillars on top of that shelf. From there, we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So we now have our flat arm. Now go into your aerial view, grab that crate, and place it on the top of your stack. Now you have your stack of 10 crates with your flat arm. We will be using this to place our candle, because for those that don't know, the Winterlight's candle ornament has a very special property that came back to us this patch, in that it can be placed on non-placeable surfaces, or well, places where other items normally can't. And that can be transferred to other things, like so. However, it does have limitations. So this is going to get sent to the front of our plot, which, you know, normally is irksome, but in this case is rather useful. So all we're going to do is swap over to our other plot, leave through the front gate for the first time, because we are dealing with stacked items. Re-enter your plot. Place the terrace piece back into your inventory by pressing G, or if you're on the Switch, you're going to press Y. And then we're going to leave for the second time. And now we see that our flowers are now all nicely organized in our lamp zone. I will now speed up the footage while I place all of these inside. Actually, for this, it's sometimes better to use the aerial view, because when you grab them, they just jump inside. So whenever you can use the aerial view, I highly recommend it. And there we go. you're good to bring in more. I think that you kind of saw it in. We'll do one more quick example, and we'll just do it using building blocks. And that's sending things via group select. And it's important to make sure that, and we'll just to show that everything is independent, I'll have them ever so slightly apart from one another. Yep, so everything can still be picked up. And now, once again, we're going to group select via the 𝐏𝐿oly's candle ornament, and we're going to send them up to our radial arm, and then just take off the candle ornament because we're not planning on picking up the floors this time around. And now we can swap over to the steamworks, book it out the front gate. Come back inside. We notice that since everything that was placed up there via the candle was not in a stack, it actually came through altogether. So the limitation though being that like group select in that way can only be done with things that have a placeable surface on top of them. Alright, for this next example, I've taken the liberty of preparing a bunch of Paltech coffee tables by placing small wood crates on top of them. This is to allow them to be group selected together. All you have to do is place them close enough together, and when you do, they are able to be group selected. And remember, it's very important that it's less important for this example that it's grabbed via the crate. And we're going to place our 𝐓𝐿oly's candle ornament on top of our crate. Now go into the aerial view, target our 𝐓𝐿oly's candle ornament, press our group select button, and this will allow us to place our assembly up on top. Okay, so this time, however, before swapping our plots, we're going to take off all of the crates that are on top of our coffee tables. This is because we don't intend to pick up the coffee tables on the other side. So these crates will just be left floating on this side of the plot. Just trust me, weird things will happen. So now that those are up there, floating in midair, we will flip over to our Steamworks plot, do the 𝐾𝐿oly shuffle, and now we note that all of our coffee tables are now here. Yay! But yeah. Actually, once again, in this case, doing it from the aerial view is better, because we can just group select, boop, select, boop, group select, boop, group select. And we now have our stack of coffee tables, or whatever insane project we plan on doing next. I don't know, I'm just a tiny dragon trying to do his best. So yeah, right. There's something very important to note is that there is a maximum number of items you can send through at once. Because I know somebody is going to do it. 280. 280. That is the maximum number of items you can send through at once. Any more than that, they get stuck in a buffer. As well, depending on the landscape that you are on, there's a reason I'm on the Autumn Acres plot right now. It's because it has the most space going in this direction. I mean that, and it's it's very serene. But yeah, I hope everyone finds this video very useful, and I hope the weight of design anxiety is as lifted for everyone as it has been for myself. Because as some of you know, and anyone that frequents my stream knows, because I've mentioned it on many occasions, personally I hit the item cap a month into playing the game, or a little bit over a month into playing the game. So I have been playing with that realization that no design that I ever make is ever going to be what I want it to be for going on 14 months. But, now, however, that's no longer the case. But yeah, I'll stop talking so I can get to the thank yous and y'all can get home and enjoy this. Reminder that if anybody needs any help with this or anything else, that I'm available over on Twitch every Monday and Wednesday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And special shout out goes to Maverick Maruyama once again for cracking the code on breaking the item limit. As well, special thanks goes to those that pitched in for testing on this or threw in some input. So I'll just breeze through the names here. We've got our lovely Kel'o'ly once again, newcomer to the scene, Zyro. If I said that right, sorry. Message me if I said it wrong. The next one comes with a bit of a apology, but despair plus friend. Sorry, but my testing partner did also point out the tent, so that's why it was included in the video. I was not going to include it and was going to respect wishes, but Drake Lance, who was the next shout out, did also mention using the tent as a taxi. And yeah, also just Drake Lance, if you watched to the end, thank you so much for all of the testing help that you do on a daily basis. Just all the help that you give. Which also, yeah, for those that are unaware, Drake Lance also makes tutorials. His link will be down in the description if you'd like to check them out. And of course, Artus Sever of Foxstar Productions for the music, because we love him. And massive shout out to everyone at Unofficial Palia Housing. If anyone hasn't joined already, the link is in the video description. It is where you could have learned about this or joined in on the testing before the video came out. Yeah, all that's left is to mention that I have been a tiny dragon with the most titanic dreams, and to remind everyone that I truly hope that you, wherever you are in the world, keep your dreams just as big, and that I'll see you in the future. Love you guys, and we'll see you next time.